All right, I'm just a heads up. I'm going to go ahead and, hey Marissa, good morning. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing on Facebook. All right. Okay, I swear I do this every time and I still mess it up the Facebook Live. So one more try. Good morning. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Jim. All right. Just give it a couple more minutes. How's everybody's rainy morning so far? A little gloomy.
Still feels pretty early.
It does. When the sun's not out, it's just harder.
And the US Open's keeping me up way too late at night.
Did you see Serena's match with?
I did. I finally went last night though. The Shapovalov match was so good, but I finally went to bed.
Yep.
And he didn't win.
Not to get controversial, but the whole Djokovic thing was just so sad.
Yeah, I felt bad for him.
Yes. All right.
I'm sure all the other guys though that have lost to him or Rafa or Fed in the last 20 years are really excited to have an opportunity.
Yes, yes. Usually they're good sports people, but yeah, that's sad. Okay, since it's 9 a.m. and if we have more people joining in, we'll just welcome them, but I want to be conscious of time and get started. Thank you all for joining. I see a few new faces, so welcome. This is the Community Entrepreneurship Hour, and my name is Dia Ghosh with Ada Jobs Foundation. And if you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself, please type in your name and the organization you're with or your business in the chat. Should be on your right side. So we started this Community Entrepreneurship Hour a few months ago, really to provide a platform for entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas, whether it's in the idea stage or whether it's a growing business, and really have the opportunity to talk to the community, get some feedback, and vice versa. We hope that the community of entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial support services, as well as people who support businesses locally, have a chance to provide some feedback, get engaged, and network. So what we do is we have two speakers usually, entrepreneurs who want to share their story and their startup journey, and they take about 10 to 12 minutes to share either a slide deck or just talk about their business. And after that, we open it up to Q&A, and we really encourage you at this time to ask questions, provide positive feedback, and anything that's really going to help their business grow and get better. You all are probably Zoom experts by now, but please keep yourself muted while our speakers are talking so that we have no distractions. And I will encourage you to stay till the end of the event today, because we do Arbuckle Craft Coffee giveaways. We have some winners here from previous months, so you know that's a fun little gift card you can get. So without much spending any more time, I want to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker today is Naresh Juneja with BreatifyUSA. Breathify is an affordable, powerful, eco-friendly, and smart air purifier. It is an expansion of Breatify, a company that was started by a 17-year-old social entrepreneur in India. And now with Naresh's entrepreneurial passion, he is looking at establishing a sales and manufacturing line and expansion in the US market. So Naresh, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and whenever you're ready.
Good morning, everybody. This is Naresh Juneja. I give you a little background, and then I'll get started. I moved to Ada about 3 years back, and that was my first foray into probably living in a small sort of community environment, or sort of a small place. I've lived mostly in big cities: Delhi, Bangkok, San Francisco, and then Atlanta. So I love it here, and sort of wanted to share my vision of what I want to do. And I'll introduce the product. Before I introduce the product, let me sort of talk about what I'm trying to achieve through this product, right? I think at this 2020 is an inflection point in where we'll see this as we move forward as a place where we used this opportunity, or we will try to use this opportunity to launch the rural America or the globe, or our own smaller communities into the forefront. We should take this opportunity and do that. And that will happen if we sort of come together and work as a group, right? Because to create that groundswell, we need numbers, and we do not have the numbers from big cities or the infrastructure we have, but we definitely have one thing in this community is a lot of people who are ready to participate, people who are ready to help and try to promote something which is being done. And I have experienced that firsthand with working at Pontotoc Technology Center, who have been great. The whole community at Pontotoc has been helping me to sort of build this product and get this launched. So let me move forward. My basic aim is to build in America, in rural America, using the technology which is available here. I want to lay the foundation for a competitive and a locally owned manufacturing workforce. That is what I'm trying to achieve. Just give you an idea, this is the guy who built this product. He's a 19-year-old guy now. He lives in India, but the product was designed by him. He's joining Stanford next year as an undergrad, and was honored by the Commerce Department in the US last year for his technology skills and his entrepreneurship skills. The objective of today's presentation is primarily to get the feedback from the community, right? To understand how we can engage with the community. And the idea here is that what I'm trying to achieve is, to give you a little background, 1945, after the Second World War, something came into the US which was called value engineering. Primarily what it was that there was a revolution in the use of materials and how those materials were used to enhance the war effort. And that set up a new sort of paradigm shift in manufacturing, and US took a lead in manufacturing after 1945. We have sort of given up that lead in the last few years by sort of transferring all these skills overseas, right? This is the time when I think as a community, we can sort of catch on and use this 2020 to launch back our sort of advancements we have today and use that to sort of propel us back into the manufacturing ecosystem. So I wanted to start with a small product or a project and see how it will move forward. So we picked up an air purifier. Basically, the WHO also talks about the number of deaths which happen because of air, and because of the COVID situation, we feel that it is an appropriate time to sort of launch something which will become immediately useful, right? If you look at if you go to Oklahoma, and you'll see there are two big billboards in the city which talk about casino cleaning their cleaning the air every 8.5 minutes. So that is the importance at this time of the clean air and why it is essential at this time. If you do a Google search for air purifiers, these are some of this is just a sort of a short list of some of them which pop up. They're not in any order. I just picked up 4 names to sort of show what pops up when you do a search for an air purifier, and primarily for home use. And at this time, I would like you guys to write down a price of what you think you would be ready to pay for an air purifier, because it will help us also determine what sort of price range we are looking at and where it will be the best value. And I'll move forward and show you what these things cost. But just make a guess and write a price. This is what is the price for these purifiers, and most of them are not fully built in the US also, right? These are primarily what you're looking to pay for an air purifier if you want to get one for your home today, right? And most of these air purifiers, when I did a search and primarily to see what reviews people were giving, we found that these are some of the common problems all these air purifiers have, right? VOC is volatile organic compounds. You'll get that smell when you buy an air purifier. There's that typical smell sometimes of the glues or the chemicals they use to put together their products. They're very difficult to maintain. You'll see most of these maintenance contract run into $150 for 2 to 3 years, right? They're mostly very complex designs, not easy to replace filters. And you'll see that it's difficult to sort of work with these things. And the most important thing which we found was that none of them have an end of life story or are made from recyclable products. All of them are using sort of petro-based products, or it's fine to use that product, but these products are adding to the waste we are already generating, right? So these are some of the issues which we sort of found to be there with most of these purifiers. So what we thought was to introduce something which is no frills, purely simple air purification system. That's it. So what we are doing is purifying the air. It's a user-friendly product, simple product, but very effective. And that was our goal, to introduce a product which is effective and not to bring in anything which was complex in design or had some gizmos to play around with. The advantage here is what we're talking about is something called the reverse air technology, which is a patented technology we are using, which allows for what comes out of this purifier is pure air. Now, this is the design which is being currently sold in India. This is made of wood fiber board, and it can clean a 350 square feet room. Typically, bedroom sizes in US are about 220, so it's sort of a little of an over design. but it is a simple design, and what comes out is absolutely pure air at 99.97% purity. The other advantage here, it is built using recycled plastics. In US, we are re-engineering this to be built using recycled plastics, biodegradable, no harmful ozone layers, no ultraviolet emissions, and the most important point, the end of life recycling of this product, what we are building in the US. At end of life, you can send the product back to us, and 80% of the product will be reused in manufacturing new purifiers or to build some other things. The air purifier market, we just wanted to give you an idea of the market to see how the market is growing. You can see that the market is growing at about 5%. That is a little sort of older figure. It is sort of growing at a much faster rate at this time because of the COVID situation. And just to give you an idea, this is what is our competition. And basically the competition is based on the level of purity which we can achieve. So you will see that there's a range of purifiers anywhere between $50 to about $900. What defines an air purifier is the level of purity or the level of air purity it is able to deliver, and the time within which it can clean a room. These are the two important things which define the air purifier, right? And you will see that in this sort of a simple presentation, of where different air purifiers stand. We are probably the most affordable and probably we're going to be the most effective in terms of what we are able to deliver. And the next slide will show you why we are talking about that. You'll see that if you look at the comparative between the air purifiers, look at the price range and look at the price of the filter, replacing a filter. And we saw that most filters need to be replaced in 6 months, and look at the weight. Typically, the molecule is the sort of the Tiffany variety of air purifiers. They're about $700. They weigh about 26 pounds. Honeywell, somewhere in between, about $400 and 15 or 16 pounds. We are going to be at roughly about 5 to 6 pounds. The cost of replacing a filter is $12. A truly portable air purifier, which is as effective as these more Tiffany sort of varieties, I call them, who are sort of more expensive to maintain. Their filters are expensive. The cost of ownership is expensive. And if you look at the cost of maintaining these purifiers also, they're pretty expensive, and none of these have an end of life sort of what do they want to do at the end of the life of the purifier. And we sort of have a strategy going into this. We have decided that how we are going to deal with this end of life. So truly portable and truly effective air purifier is what we are trying to launch. Now, a very small product and a small step. And but the idea is to launch and create an ecosystem which is self-sustaining, self-reliant, and self-sustaining. We want to sort of use this experiment to show our community here in Ada, that even though we are a small community, if we come together, we can launch a product which has the capability of becoming a national product, and we can use this platform, what I'm trying to build, for other entrepreneurs who feel that they are not getting the sort of focus, or they are not able to sort of get the tools. We want to create all those tools. My journey, I'm sort of documenting in a way that everybody is able to use that tomorrow. That is my goal as why I've joined this project, right? And that is my goal. So I would like to stop here, and if there are any questions, I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Naresh. That was great. All right. So since we're a pretty small group today, please feel free to just shout out your question. The chat feature is also available, but please feel free to ask questions.
Hi, Marcia Tucker, Ada Main Street. Thank you for that. I find this very interesting. As a relatively new mother, I remember going and pricing air purifiers and looking at them and just trying to find what was going to be best, not only for my child, but for our budget as well. So let me just make sure I'm getting all this straight. This product is priced under at $100. Is that what I'm looking at?
That we are planning to be around that figure.
And then with a $12 filter change at 6 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I kind of just pulled up some old sites that I had saved from a long time ago, looking at purifiers and just kind of comparison. I mean, I love the fact that it's portable, but I think at that price point, I would have no problem buying multiple ones, because the comparison is ridiculous when you're looking at other filter or other systems. I think ease and convenience is more important. Sometimes price I can factor in price when it comes to how convenient is this going to be for my family. So, I mean, overall, I think that this is fantastic, and I can see the community of mothers really getting behind a product like this. So,
Thank you for the feedback. See, I like to add here, which I have not added in this presentation, is that when you look for an air purifier, the most important question which you ask is the level at which it can clean, right? And typically they are defined by the size of the granules or the size of the product it can sort of control to go into your environment. So the COVID germ is about 0.8 microns. And no purifier in the world currently, not even the N95 mask, has the capability of totally stopping that. So typically the lowest size we can go is about 25 microns. Sorry, 2.5 microns. The COVID is 0.8, right? So we are at 2.5 microns is what we can clean, right? A pollen grain is about 8 microns. So that is something which is a no-brainer in our case. But the COVID germ does not come as one germ. It typically comes as a bunch of it's like a spit, or it comes in the air as a group, right? So at about 99.97, we can control that much of germ we can control, right? And beyond that, it is not in what we have researched and found out is that it is not that big a quantity that it can affect you. So I just wanted to share this information that how a air purifier, right, helps in cleaning or creating an environment which is sort of germ-free and good for your family.
So I want to jump in and thank you again for presenting this, Naresh. I think this has been really interesting and I think really timely. I wanted to bring up something that you introduced sort of at the beginning of your presentation, where you were talking about American manufacturing and why your product is going to be manufactured in the U.S. And at the risk of sounding heretical, I wanted to maybe play devil's advocate and say, what about being in the US is important for the manufacturing of your product? Is it a quality advantage? Is it a cost advantage? Is it a shipping and distribution advantage?
All the three. I feel that at this time, we have the technology in the US, we have the expertise in this country to build something even and make it reasonably priced and to make it well. We do not have to depend on larger industries in abroad, right? The way we are trying to do this is through a process called distributed manufacturing, where we set up smaller units at multiple locations. And I know Jim and I differ here in the way this has to be implemented. But the idea is to use resources, like in our case, we are going to be using 3D printing to print the air purifier. We have enough technology and fast machines in the US which can print the whole purifier in one go at a very reasonable price and deliver it in a deliver it like a manufacturing line, but with smaller units. So that is what we are using, and that is what we are building, and that is something which we have built in collaboration with the Pontotoc and a lot of other people who are helping us. throughout the state of Oklahoma. And that has been the biggest asset I have today, is the involvement of people all around our community and around the state who have been helping me sort of move forward. And that, I think, is our biggest strength at this time. And that is what I'm trying to leverage.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, Naresh. How far away do you think you are from launching?
Keeping my fingers crossed, I should have the first prototype this week and the
Wow.
first commercial launch before October.
Exciting. That's coming up soon.
Yes,
Congrats.
ma'am. It has been a journey in terms of selecting the technologies, understanding the technology, because about 3 months back, I knew nothing about additive manufacturing. So I'm an engineer, yes, but 35 years is when I finished my engineering in 1984. So it's been a long time. So it was not an easy journey for me to sort of start understanding the whole process again. So it's been a sort of a journey for me, but I'm trying to document everything I go through. So I learned SolidWorks, I learned
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot of splicing softwares to understand. I learned how to select a machine, what was important, why is temperature important, why is dirt not important. Dirt is very bad for me. So I learned all those things. So it took a little time to sort of get started, but today we are in a position where we are ready. Our first unit was delivered 2 weeks back. We had to send back one machine because it was not working. So our unit is ready. A prototype is on the printer now. I have to go back and look at it. I fired that yesterday to see, because there was no time. So we are almost in the we have our motors here, we have our filters here, and we have our plastic here. It's all recycled. So we have everything ready, and hopefully come October, we'll have the first 50 units.
What channels are you going to use to distribute? Or retail, online? What's your
Actually,
thoughts?
sorry, go ahead.
Just curious on what your thoughts were, or if you've already got that planned or in place, or.
No, we don't that have in place, and Dia came up with a great idea, and I think Jake is also doing that. I would like to sort of engage with our community, and if they can help me with the marketing. I'm a technology guy, I'm not a marketing guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of an engineer, that's it. So for me to build a presentation like this takes me 3 to 4 weeks, right? And a lot of help from Dia, from my wife, and from a lot of people, right? So it's not that easy for me to talk or to sort of talk marketing, right? So I need help there, and I'm open to any suggestions, any ideas, anybody who's able to sort of give me ideas or help me with this. I'm open for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, this is great, Naresh. This is Midi here. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you doing this from, locally from Ada to help our economy. And I do have some supply chain background, and I'd love to connect with you if you need any help. I'm working in Legal Shield as the director of analytics, but my background is in supply chain, and I'd like to help you out in any way possible.
Thank you very much. That is appreciated, right? And this is great, actually.
I am muted. Okay, so I think with a couple minutes left, I'd just like to end with a question, Naresh, and I think you hit on this, but how can the Ada community help you, as you're getting ready to launch your product, getting customer discovery? Is there any specific ask you have or anything we can help you with?
See, the main ask has been so far has been that I do not want to go the venture funding route. I'm not a great fan of let me put it a little mildly, I'm not a big fan of venture funding. I'm a big fan of community funding, of grants, and of building with the community and trying to put that back into the community. So I'm probably that way. I think I'm not a big fan of, and I have no intentions of using this product to build somebody else's pocketbook. If this product builds and becomes successful, it has to be ADA, and the experiment has to be this experiment or this platform needs to be used by other people as effectively as possible. As a part of what I'm trying to do is also to set up a manufacturing center of excellence at the Pontotoc. I would like to teach a course on additive manufacturing going forward, because I think I can do that very well now. But that is my idea, that I would like to use this platform for other people in ADA who want to go into manufacturing, who want to use technology to launch whatever they want, right? I'm available for everybody. And this product or this whole exercise is to build for the community, right? And that is where I want to be. I have no interest, and that is where I need help. I need somebody to help me to explore options of what are the alternative ways of financing this. I can finance a lot of it myself at this time. That is not an issue at this time, but I would like to see how to get the community engaged, or how to get financing through grants or through other means, right? And that is where, if somebody can help me, it would be great.
Awesome. Thank you, Naresh. That's really good insight, and we're all here to help you and brainstorm. And because I think that's not something that's unique to you. Every entrepreneur has that barrier when it comes to access to capital, especially in the seed stage. So, all right, can we have a round of applause for Naresh, please? Thank you. Thank you, Naresh. Okay, I'm about to introduce our second speaker, Cody Tucker, founder of Convey 640. Convey 640 is a software company based in Ada, Oklahoma, that helps clients search and analyze Oklahoma oil and gas data quickly and easily. So thank you, Cody, for joining us, and feel free to share your screen. Oops,
hey, thank you.
Make you a co-host. Let me do that real quick. All right, we should be good to go.
So can you see my screen and hear me? Good. So I'm Cody Tucker. This is Convey 640, and we're an oil and gas data and analytics platform. Just a little bit about me. So born in Bridge Creek, graduated 2006 from Bridge Creek, went there my whole life, then went to the University of Oklahoma, graduated 2011 with energy management, which is more of a focus on oil and gas and finance. And then worked for a few companies out of college. And then in 2015, started my own oil and gas title and due diligence business. And then in 2018, we moved to Ada. So not from here originally, but all of our families from here. We live on the original allotment land. So a lot of ties to Ada. And then wife, oddly enough, went to East Central. So a lot of mutual connections and a lot of great relationships here. During the time that I was doing the consulting business, I was trying to do a lot of content marketing online. So like primarily LinkedIn and newsletter, and was trying to differentiate myself from the other consulting businesses that were out there. And so just started doing a lot of content marketing about what type of oil and gas activity was going on in the state, and was spending a lot of time manually gathering that information, going to various websites, news sources, and just compiling all that information in Excel, putting it in, analytic platforms that are kind of off the shelf, and then distributing that. Was spending a lot of time, and so I wanted to automate some of that system, because spending 8 hours a week for free content really wasn't making a lot of sense. So I hired a contract developer to help automate some of those systems. And we just kept getting a lot of positive feedback in that content that we were putting out there, and decided to try to go further and turn this into a product. So we started developing it in 2018, and then launched in 2019. So self-funded, did it with the funds that we're receiving through the consulting work, And then the contract developer that I was working with every day put a lot of sweat equity into the product. And so that eventually led into a partnership. And so now he has ownership in it. Like I said, it focused on Oklahoma oil and gas activity. And we use computer technology to gather, clean, and organize data into an online platform. And so there's 3 types of data that we look at, and this will be kind of high level, but we look at regulatory data, land data, and well data. And so regulatory primarily comes from the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. They do have an office here in Ada as well, but their goal is to develop oil and gas resources in a fair and orderly manner, and then protect the environment, ensure public safety. So prior to drilling a well, you can't just go out and decide you want to drill a well anywhere. You have to apply for the necessary, permissions and applications via the Corporation Commission. They have hearings, there's judges, and then there's a ruling ordered. And it's a pretty complex process, kind of simplified it here, but there's all types of applications and orders that the Corporation Commission oversees. And so that's a data source that we're gathering. And then in order to drill a well, you also have to lease every mineral owner that's located within your drilling unit. So typically that's 640 acres. And those, so you lease somebody, and then all of those filings are filed at the county courthouse. So you have oil and gas leases, and then companies can buy and sell those leases. So like how you can, if you take a mortgage, the person you took the mortgage with usually is not who owns it now, so those can get bought and sold. So same thing with oil and gas leases, so that'd be oil and gas assignments. And then we have mineral deeds, so you can buy and sell minerals just like you can buy and sell surface. So there's a lot of transactions that can take place that a lot of people are interested in, and so we track all of that activity, and a lot of it, like I said, comes from county courthouses across the state. And then there's well data. So, there's permits, there's completions, there's the fracking, so what materials are going in that, and then there's production rate. So how much is each well producing? Is it gas? Is it oil? Et cetera. A lot of different data points that come in the initial part of a well. And so we're gathering all of that information. And so we take all of these sources, public sources, and we compile it into one platform where people can log in and they can gather all that information and see it, versus having to go to 20 different websites. They can come to our website and get all of that insight. And so I'll show you a quick demo of what our platform looks like. Again, I'll keep it kind of high level and not get too technical, but this is our platform. And so we have all of our land information. So this is the mineral deeds, OGLs, assignments. You can see who's buying, selling, where it was recorded, when it was. You can see the active areas in the state where the activity is occurring. You can see who's buying. You can see what companies are spending money. So just a lot of high level insights. And then from there, the user, they can dive into a specific company and see who they're buying from, what areas in the state that they're targeting. So you can do a lot of competitor analysis really quickly in our platform. And then you can also look at well data. And so we can see what companies are selling well. So companies, especially now as companies are kind of struggling financially, they'll sell various assets. And so you can see what companies are selling their assets, where those are. So this company here, Templar, operating in the past 7 days, it sold 100 wells. And so then we can see where those wells are. We can look at, we want to see what production is in these wells. We have the production data in there. There's no production, bad example. But you can see kind of how those wells are performing. And so doing this, I know this is kind of a boring, but doing this, if you were doing it manually, would take days, if not weeks, to gather all this information. And we've kind of cut that down into minutes, with our platform. And so our focus is Oklahoma activity. And so we target mineral companies. We target, local small mom and pop operators, and then we target recently now just big operators. So your Continentals, your Chesapeakes, your Devon Energies, in Oklahoma City. So our clientele's pretty broad, but focused on Oklahoma oil and gas activity. So that's the platform, and I'll kind of open it up to any questions.
Great. Thanks for that, Cody. I think we have one question in the chat, and I'll shout it out. Is this data available to the public? I am continuously researching the oil and gas sector for job, unemployment data, and other information.
Yeah, so it is available to the public. So whoever wants to use it, it's a software as a service. So you just go on to the website and basically sign up, kind of like how you would, QuickBooks. We have month-to-month plans. We have yearly plans. We have bigger technical plans for the larger companies who just want access to the data. But whoever wants access to that, it's available to them. So we have some clients who are just small, like I said, individual mineral owners, and just who want to know what activity is occurring on their land. We have built-in alerts that they're notified when activities, drilling is going to be occurring, around or near their property. And so, we tried to be flexible. One reason that I launched this is some of these platforms were geared more to enterprise users, so tens of thousands of dollars for subscriptions. And we tried to change that model to be more affordable, a couple $100s a month, to even some cheaper plans, depending on what the individual wanted. And in the oil and gas space, until recently, that wasn't the case. Like I said, everything was enterprise, long, year to 5-year contracts. And then just now recently, the technology's kind of changed, and more software is going to the SaaS model, so the software as a service. And so that's where we're transitioning, is to users can come in and out of the platform as their business needs adjust. And that's kind of where we're seeing some success right now is, if you don't follow oil and gas, last year, basically prices went negative. And so when that happens, people are scrambling and cutting costs everywhere. And so we were able to kind of squeeze into the market where we might not have been able to when prices were $100 and everyone was just making, millions of dollars and weren't really watching their budgets. Now when prices have kind of collapsed, everyone's kind of watching their budgets. And so we're an option now that's affordable, but with the reliable data that some of the other bigger providers have.
Hey, Cody, this is Jake. It's the first time I've actually seen the backside of your platform. It's really nice, man. You did a really good job with it.
No, I appreciate it.
Hey, Cody, quick question. So having no background with this type of, software service, you mentioned that you're at the less expensive end of your market, but what does your market look like? What, do you have some competitors you're benchmarking against? Are they national in scope? Kind of what does that landscape look like?
Yeah, so I mean, the competitor landscape, there's probably 3 to 4 maybe competitors. Their prices, they don't disclose them as, we're pretty transparent. You go to our website and you can see our prices. Like I said, they were more geared toward enterprise software and don't, kind of customize the tools. And so it's harder to advertise that. But just talking to people who are coming over to our platform from the competitors, they were at $10,000 to $20,000 a year, where we are at, $2,000 to $3,000 a year. So some pretty big savings. Like I said, a few years ago in oil and gas, people were just making, all kinds of money. And so $10,000 to $20,000 to them was no big deal. And so now, though, with the prices collapsing, everybody's kind of reevaluating what they're spending money on. And that's allowed us to come, into the market and actually start making some waves. We're not where we want to be yet. The oil and gas space, especially the technology space, it's slower moving and it's hard. Once people are kind of set in their ways, it's really hard to bring a new technology or a new provider into the space. And get them to take a look at you and trust what you're doing. So it's just that part, kind of underestimated that part as a founder and launching on a timeline. And it's just really taken a lot of, putting a lot of content out there, doing demos, networking. We finally got some fairly large clients who have been really satisfied with the platform, and without even us asking, they've been sharing on their marketing channels like, hey, we switched to this company, you need to take a look at them. So just like that process takes a long time. It's something that I kind of underestimated.
Mary, feel free to jump in. We have plenty of time.
Okay. Hey, Cody, this is great. As an analytics guy, I got excited looking at this.
Yeah, we tried to model it after some off-the-shelf analytics platforms like Tableau or Microsoft BI or Spotfire. And those subscriptions, if you're not familiar with them, they're fairly expensive. They can do a lot of powerful things, but you almost have to have a developer walking through those platforms with you to get them up and running. And this one, we tried to take a non-technical approach where people could come in here, get the analytics that they need, but then also they can export our data out. They have their own internal systems. So some of the larger companies have their own internal systems and IT departments, and they can export our data out and do other, type of analysis. But we tried to make it kind of for non-technical users, with the ability for power users to get additional insights.
This is great. No, you're basically democratizing analytics for everybody. So this is awesome.
No, appreciate it.
I kind of had a question about, you mentioned about starting with sweat equity with your partner and also bootstrapping some of the way. What was that experience like? Can you share a little bit?
It's tough. It's when we were bootstrapping it, like I said, when we launched it, the market was doing really well. So our consulting business was doing really well at the time. And then when the market crashed, the consulting business slowed down as well. But luckily I was working with a developer who had put a lot of time, saw the power of the platform, was in a position where they could take on some sweat equity. And so like all the pieces kind of aligned. Bootstrapping it is tough. You're dumping a lot of, software development is expensive. I feel like we've done it fairly affordably, speaking when you're talking about software, but it's still expensive. And so just bootstrapping it, is tough, especially when you're, not going on vacations or, watching everything that you're spending to pay for a product. And then the market crashes and, that affects your consulting business. And then it's affecting your, the data platform users, are being a little bit hesitant signing on. So it is stressful. And so that's what yesterday when we talked, relate this to kind of the ADA community. I didn't want to go out and look for startup capital as far as giving away equity. Shark Tank makes it look exciting, and and there is some appeal to it, but that is a very long and tedious process to raise capital, and then connecting to the right partners, and then giving away equity. If you give away too much equity, you don't own the company anymore, and they can change management on a heartbeat. So I really didn't want to do that process. I wanted to try to own the product as much equity as I could. But it is stressful. And so having a community of other entrepreneurs that you can maybe connect with and, just talk about your struggles that you're going through, or, as a previous speaker mentioned about what other, maybe there's banks in the area that are giving out, some type of loans or, credit lines, et cetera, that you can talk to them about, or, pros and cons, of using various sources of capital. I think would be very valuable to the startup community, because it's not like you can just say, hey, I've got an idea, I'm going to go on a Shark Tank and, you know, I'm going to become a millionaire overnight. There's a lot of work involved, and, you know, there's a lot of sleepless nights and various sources, you know, of capital work for different people. And so just having that dialogue of what's available and the pros and cons of each method, I think would be very valuable to an entrepreneur in Ada.
Cody, I want to jump in with another question unless someone else wants to go. But one thing I'm really curious about is, as you know, you work with this company, as you see opportunities for expansion, how do you plan to add, you know, more talent to your company? Do you think you can find that here in Ada? Do you think you'll have to outsource it to other cities or other places? Kind of, have you thought that far in advance?
I haven't thought about it a ton in advance, because the goal with the platform was never to build a huge business from an employee standpoint. We were trying to use technology to automate as much as we can, to basically make as much profit, you know, as we can. You know, I talked to Jake and met with Jake, who's, you know, built some similar things and has a lot of, you know, computer experience. So I think there, you know, is talent in Ada. I think networking to find that talent, it's not like it's as easily maybe as accessible as some of like a Houston or Oklahoma City that has a lot of technology sources as far as, you know, get-togethers, or Oklahoma City has I2E. They have just various technology programs. But I do think now, especially, you know, kids are growing up on computers and they're going, you know, to college for MIS and other technology degrees. So I do think they are in Ada. Just, you know, the culture is slowly changing. But like I said, us personally, our goal was to just build an automated system where we didn't require a ton of overhead.
That's really helpful, and I appreciate you bringing up the fact that networking could be a key for you to find that talent. So
yeah, like I said, I think networking, you know, that's huge. I was never a great networker early on in college, but now just see the benefits of it. You know, just talking, if I was talking to Jake, you know, Jake would say, hey, I know a GIS guy, he can help you get maps into your system. Or, you know, talking to somebody who, you know, works at a bank, they might understand the loan process better. So I think just networking in general, you know, the startup community, you know, I think is probably one of the most valuable things, in my opinion, that Ada can do for the entrepreneurs. You know, there's not a magic thing, that button that Ada can push and it's just going to create all of these jobs and all of these startups. It's relationships, and those take time, you know, to develop. But I think that's a great starting point.
That's a great point, Cody, and it kind of overlaps with what Naresh was speaking earlier as well. And we really hope, you know, events like this, the Community Entrepreneurship Hour, and some of the other events we have planned will provide an opportunity. And, you know, you all will go out and start networking afterwards as well. I think you kind of answered my question to what can the entrepreneurship community do for you. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I just appreciate you putting this event on. You know, like we talked yesterday, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Houston, some of the bigger cities, you know, have a lot of entrepreneur conferences or meetups, you know, the 1 million cups we discussed. And so I think this is great. I think it's going to take some time probably for people to latch onto it and, you know, to hear about it. But I think hopefully we can just continue to grow. You know, I think the human nature has a, you know, an entrepreneur spirit inside. I think a lot of people are just scared to get out of their comfort zone and, you know, to launch a product or a service. You know, but I think networking and hearing other stories and seeing that people are, you know, hey, they're like me, they have struggles, you know, they have successes. think that more people hear that, the more startup stories, there will be, in the community. As a society before, it was always, go to college, go get an 8-to-5 job, retire, have the family, live the American dream. But I think a little bit culturally, it's kind of changing to now, pursue your passions, and what you're good at. And so I think we just need to support people, who are doing that, because it is tough, mentally, physically, and financially, just be there as a supportive community. And from there, I think, new ventures will be formed, and, ADA will add new businesses and not kind of be tied to kind of the same industries, that are driving the economy right now.
Awesome, thank you. I think that is wonderful advice. Entrepreneurship is difficult, but it's worth it, and we need entrepreneurs. So thank you, Cody. Can you please get a round of applause for the awesome presentation?
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And I know everyone's waiting for the quiz giveaway, but I want to make a quick announcement before I do that. I mentioned at the last meetup that we are going to do the Startup ADA Bootcamp again this year. So we are super excited about that. Let me share this flyer really quick. So what the program is that it's a 6-week cohort-based program that helps entrepreneurs to take their ideas from their, the idea stage to getting ready, prototype, how to pitch to investors. Applications have opened up, and the first date for the bootcamp is October 6th. So as you can see, it's a $75 fees, and you can have the application online. We have expert speakers coming in every week to talk about certain topics that are important when you're starting a business, as well as Cody mentioned, the networking aspect of it and having founders come in for fireside chats. So if you need any more information about that, please just send me an email or give me a call, and I'll be happy to talk more. All right, so with that, we are going to do our quiz giveaway. Let's see, so how this works is that I put the question in the chat, and whoever sends the fastest reply on the chat gets a $10 gift card, and we do 2 of these. So if the question is for the first speaker, the second speaker, feel free to jump in. All right, so the first question is, okay, what is the name of the patented technology that Breathify uses? So Naresh cannot jump onto this, but everyone else can. It's kind of towards the beginning. Oh, did I give a tough one? All right, okay, we're gonna do one more. The answer was, Jim, did you know the answer?
Okay, I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm probably wrong, but was it direct air technology?
Reverse air technology.
So close.
Close. Okay, maybe.
I can't win, by the way, so you guys are still safe, so.
Yes, okay, how about this one? When is Naresh expecting to launch, go to market? What's the timeline? I'm looking for a month here.
Yeah, I think we have a winner.
March. Okay, so the question is the BreatifyUSA. October. Okay, Dr. Bowen. Sorry, Trevor. But okay, we have one more chance. One more chance. All right, one more chance for our Arbuckle giveaway. So what are the 3 types of data that Convey 640 deals with?
Oh, man.
Oh, Jay, good job. This is like competitive here. And I was going to say, Marissa, you could jump in too, but all right. Well, thank you so much. You will receive your gift cards very shortly. Again, we meet the second Wednesday of the month. If you know of some awesome speakers and awesome entrepreneurs who are working on ideas, wanting to grow their business, just send them our way. We'd love to feature them. So we are 5 minutes early, but thank you all so much for joining. I'll leave the call on if anybody wants to stay back and network, but I appreciate all your time.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. It's good to see you all.
Hey, Cody, I'm going to reach out and call you here in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right.
And Jake hit it off. I was just going to say, Jake would be an awesome speaker for one of the upcoming series.
I don't know about that. Hey, no, the girl that's going to do the internship with me, that's going to do the startup boot camp, she would be a good one for maybe October.
Awesome.
I think she's going to start next week and start working on that project some, and so for the October round, I can throw her to the wolves and see how she does.
Well, we will be very nice and help her throughout the way. So that's awesome.
There you go. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, good to see you. Take care.
Sorry you missed the quiz, but we will be on again next month.
Dang it, I could have won. No, I'm just kidding. No, thank you guys. This was great. Appreciate you inviting me over. This was really great. Thank you.
And I just messaged you. If you want to message me back, you can, or I can send you my email address if you want to talk further.
Yes, please. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm really interested. Yeah, it was a great meeting to come to. So I have a supply chain background and working on analytics. So this is great. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cody, thank you for your email. I'll email you back.
Okay.